Welcome back to the channel. If you thought last year's AI boom was chaotic, buckle up because June 2026 has officially flipped the script on everything we know about open-source large language models. We aren't just seeing incremental updates anymore. We are witnessing a full-blown domination by new architectures that are quietly dismantling the barriers between proprietary giants and independent developers. Today, we're diving deep into why models like DeepSeek V32, Kimi K25, and QN3VL have suddenly become the gold standard for both enterprise security and raw reasoning power. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these new open weights are forcing a complete rethink of your infrastructure strategy, and why the era of paying premium fees for basic intelligence might finally be over. The defining characteristic of June's release cycle isn't just the parameter count. It is the fundamental shift in architectural philosophy that allows models like DeepSeek V32 to operate at the frontier without breaking the bank on inference costs. We have moved past the era where more parameters automatically meant better performance. The new generation of models introduces highly efficient attention mechanisms and dynamic routing systems that allow them to process complex, multi-step reasoning tasks with a fraction of the computational overhead seen in earlier iterations. This is critical for anyone running local instances or scaling across hundreds of endpoints. For example, while an older 70 billion parameter model might struggle to maintain coherence under heavy load, DeepSeek V32 leverages these new efficiencies to handle agentic workflows that were previously reserved for closed-source systems, costing thousands per query. This architectural leap means you can now deploy top-tier reasoning capabilities on consumer-grade hardware or mid-range cloud instances, effectively democratizing access to the kind of cognitive flexibility that used to be exclusive to tech giants with unlimited server farms. The result is a landscape where performance is no longer dictated by budget constraints, but by how well your system utilizes these new intelligent routing pathways. While efficiency is impressive, the real game changer in this cycle is the convergence of data privacy and model capability. In 2026, the need for on-premise or private cloud deployment has shifted from a niche regulatory requirement to a strategic necessity for high-stakes industries. Models like Kimi K25 and GLM5 are now approaching proprietary frontier benchmarks, specifically in coding and complex reasoning tasks, while maintaining full MIT licensing that allows teams to fine-tune directly on their most sensitive internal data without ever leaving their secure environment. This capability addresses the biggest pain point for enterprise adoption: the fear of leaking proprietary logic or customer data into public APIs. By enabling robust fine-tuning on domain-specific datasets, these models can learn the exact nuance of a company's unique workflows, legal frameworks, or engineering standards. For instance, a financial firm could now take Kimi K25 and inject years of internal compliance documentation directly into its knowledge base, creating an agent that understands their specific protocols better than any external consultant. This removes the recurring API costs that have been draining budgets for years and replaces them with a one-time infrastructure investment that pays dividends in speed, accuracy, and total data sovereignty. The barrier to entry for building custom enterprise AI is effectively zero. Perhaps the most disruptive element of this release cycle is how these models are redefining their relationship with external tools. Traditionally, LLMs acted as passive brains that relied on externally designed toolchains to execute tasks like searching the web or running code. Minimax M27 changes this paradigm entirely by actively participating in the building and refining of its own execution environment. Unlike traditional models that simply call a function when prompted, M27 demonstrates an unprecedented level of agency where it can evaluate the output of a tool, critique its own reasoning process, and dynamically adjust its strategy before completing a task. This creates a self-correcting loop that significantly reduces hallucination rates in real-world applications. Imagine a developer environment where the AI doesn't just write code, but actively refactors itself based on runtime errors it predicts before execution even begins. This proactive approach transforms the model from a static text generator into an autonomous agent capable of managing complex, multivariable projects with minimal human oversight. It represents a maturation phase for AI, moving us away from chatbots that need constant prompting toward systems that can operate semi-autonomously in dynamic environments, handling everything from debugging legacy code bases to orchestrating hardware resources without human intervention. So, what does all this mean for you right now? The immediate takeaway is that your strategy for model selection must pivot away from chasing the latest parameter count and toward evaluating specific efficiency and licensing terms. If you are building a custom application, leveraging the MIT-licensed models like Kimi K25 or GLM5 allows you to bypass the legal gray areas of restrictive commercial licenses while gaining access to reasoning capabilities that rival the best closed-source options. Furthermore, consider integrating these new architectures into your existing workflow immediately. The marginal cost of switching from an older model to one with dynamic routing is negligible compared to the long-term gains in inference speed and reduced hardware requirements. Don't wait for the hype cycle to pass. These models are here, they are robust, and they are already outperforming the competition on critical benchmarks. Whether you are fine-tuning a local instance for your team or deploying an agentic workflow that needs to handle complex tasks autonomously, the tools available in June 2026 provide everything you need to build the next generation of intelligent systems without the usual overheads. The landscape of open-source AI has fundamentally shifted from a promising experiment to a dominant force. With models like DeepSeek v32, Kimi K25, and Minimax M27 leading the charge in efficiency, privacy, and autonomy, the days of relying solely on expensive proprietary APIs are rapidly closing. You now have access to frontier-tier intelligence that respects your data sovereignty and operates with unprecedented agency. The question is no longer whether open source can compete, but how quickly you adapt to leverage these powerful tools for your own advantage. If you found this breakdown of the June 2026 release cycle valuable, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of AI infrastructure. Drop a comment below with which model you think will define the next year's standard.